No one knew where she came from. They only knew her name, Lyra, and the stories whispered across the stars. On over a dozen planets, her name was spoken with fear. Not because she was a monster, not because she killed with weapons, but because anyone who touched her skin simply died. No wounds, no screaming, just silence. Life left their bodies like a candle blown out. The galaxies named her Death-Touched. Alien scholars studied her from afar. Scientists tested the air around her. Soldiers were told to never come close. Even machines sent near her shut down without warning. She was locked inside a glowing glass chamber on a council station above. A barren moon, surrounded by guards who never met her eyes. They treated her like a plague. Not a person, but she still had eye-sad golden ones. She watched people pass by every day, and they never spoke to her until the day Jack arrived. Jack was a human technician, not a soldier. Just a man who fixed lights, doors, and broken food. Machines. He had no interest in galactic politics or alien secrets. He only wanted to work, get paid, and return to Earth one day. The moment he stepped into the high-security zone, something felt strange. He looked through the thick, clear wall, into a quiet room. Sitting in the corner was a girl with glowing silver hair and skin that shimmered like starlight. She was barefoot, knees hugged to her chest, staring at the floor. Jack whispered to a passing officer, "Who's that?" The officer froze. "You're not supposed to speak of her." "Why?" "She's the Death-Touched. You touch her, you die. Doesn't matter the species." Jack blinked. "But she's just sitting there." "Exactly. Sit too close, and your body forgets to breathe." Later that day, Jack's repair list included a faulty light above the girl's chamber. He climbed the ladder and worked silently. As he fixed the panel, he glanced down. She was still sitting there, but she was now. Looking at him, her eyes didn't glow with evil. They looked tired, lonely. Human. He raised his hand in a small wave. To his surprise, she gave the tiniest nod in return. Jack couldn't stop thinking about her. That night, during dinner, he asked the others, "Has anyone ever spoken to her?" "A tall reptilian medic answered. "Once. A diplomat tried years ago. Spoke kindly. Sat near her. 5 minutes later dead." "But what if she didn't mean to?" "They say she's a living weapon. A failed experiment from a dead empire. Or maybe she's cursed by dark tech. Either way, don't get close." But Jack wasn't convinced. Something inside told him. This girl wasn't evil. She was scared, trapped, just like a human would be, locked away and treated like a bomb. So the next day, he did something small but bold. He slid a small paper through the food slot of her chamber. No one used paper anymore, but Jack liked old things. On it, he wrote, "Are you okay?" He left it there and walked away. That night, he came back. The note was gone. In its place, a new one. "Why do you ask?" Jack smiled. For the next few days, he wrote short messages. "You look sad. What's your name? Do you get bored?" "In there?" Each time she answered, "Lyra." "Yes. I like drawing stars, but they won't let me have pens." One day, he slipped in a tiny pencil. She didn't return it. Instead, he got a new note, a sketch of his face. Jack didn't know what to do with that feeling in his chest. But it was warm, and it didn't feel like death. Then came the note that changed everything. "You're human. Maybe you won't die, but don't try. I don't want to hurt you." Jack paused. A part of him was afraid. Another part said, "She's warning you. That's not what monsters do." And then the final message he left that day. "What if I just sat beside you? No touching, just company." He didn't expect a reply, but the next morning, the chamber light was blinking. An alert. Security rushed to the hallway, but stopped. Inside, they saw her standing, waiting. Facing the door, and in the corner of the screen was a note, stuck to the wall with tape. "I'm ready to try." Asterisk, the door didn't open at first. Jack stood in front of it, heart pounding. Behind the thick glass, Lyra stood still, her silver hair glowing in the low blue lights. Her golden eyes didn't blink. She was waiting. He had never seen someone so still, so calm. And yet, the whole station watched on cameras. Breath held. The guards didn't want to let him in. "You're insane," one of them said. "If you die, Earth will demand answers." "I'm not going to die," Jack said simply. They looked at each other and hesitated. But the council override had come from the top. Strangely, someone high up had approved the visit. With a loud hiss, the sealed door opened. Jack stepped inside. It was quiet. Too quiet. He heard his own breath. He saw Lyra across the room, not moving. She had left space for him, far enough not to touch, but close enough to be together. Jack walked slowly and sat down on the floor, not too close. Just enough. They sat. In silence, Lyra spoke first, her voice soft. "You're not afraid?" Jack looked at her. "Of you? No. Of everyone who locked you up? Maybe." She didn't smile, but her eyes softened. "Everyone who touched me before died. Sometimes in seconds, sometimes in minutes." Jack nodded. "And you think that's your fault?" "I begged them not to test me. They still came close. I didn't want them to die." Jack leaned back against the wall. "I believe you." There was a pause, and Lyra sat down too. Over the next hour, they talked not about death or fear, but small things. Food, stars, her favorite drawing shapes. His first time flying through space, Jack realized something strange. He didn't feel cold or weak or dizzy. All the symptoms others got near her. He felt none. He felt calm. She noticed too. "You're still breathing," she said. "Is that a surprise?" She looked down. "Yes." Jack reached into his pocket and pulled out something small, an old earth candy, wrapped in shiny red foil. He slid it over to her. "Ever had one of these?" She looked confused. "No. It's sweet, but sticky." Carefully, she picked it up. The wrapper crinkled in her hand. She peeled it open and sniffed, then slowly placed it in her mouth. Her eyes widened. Her cheeks puffed out slightly from the sticky mess. And then for the first time, she smiled. Jack laughed. "Told you it was sticky." She giggled softly. I like this." It was such a small moment, but across the station, people watched in silent shock. This was the death touched? This was the girl they called cursed? She was laughing. With a human later, as Jack stood to leave, Lyra hesitated. "Will you come again?" she asked. Jack gave her a small nod. "Of course." He turned toward the door, and then, without thinking, she reached out. Her hand hovered near his. Her fingers trembled. Her breathing was fast. "Don't," she whispered. "If I touch you—" Jack turned slowly. "I want to know," he said gently. "I want to prove it's not you. It was never you." Her hand dropped. Jack stepped closer. No gloves. No protection. Then, slowly, he took her hand in his. Everyone watching the screen gasped. 5 seconds. 10. 15. Didn't fall. Didn't faint. Didn't flinch. He just stood there, holding her hand. Lyra's lips parted in shock. "Still here." He smiled. "Told you." Tears welled up in her glowing eyes, and in a quiet voice, she said, "Then maybe I'm not death after all." Outside the room, alarms began to ring. Security moved fast. Too fast. A council message flashed on the screen. "Unauthorized human contact with subject X-13 detected." Immediate containment requested. Jack didn't let go of her hand. Lyra didn't move either, because in that moment, two things were clear. She was no longer alone, and someone would try to take this away. Asterisk. The alarms didn't stop. Red lights flashed across the control room. Officers shouted orders. Security doors slammed shut one by one, sealing off corridors. The system thought something terrible had happened, and maybe, to them, it had. Inside the chamber, Jack still held Lyra's hand. She kept staring at their fingers. She had touched people before, but this time was different. Jack was alive. It felt like a dream she didn't want to end. But outside, the world was preparing to end it for her. Jack looked at the blinking red lights through the glass wall. "They're coming," Lyra whispered. "They always do." He looked into her eyes. "We can't let them take this away. Not again." The door behind him opened with a loud hiss. Two armored guards entered, weapons raised. "Step away from the subject." One shouted. Jack stayed still. "She's not a subject. She's a person. Human. You're breaking council law. This is forbidden." Lyra took a step back, but Jack didn't move. "I've read the law," Jack said. "It says she's dangerous. Prove it now." The guards hesitated. Jack was still breathing, still standing. Their eyes darted to Lyra, who looked terrified, not deadly. "Please," she said. "I didn't mean for this." But the guards advanced. Lyra whispered to Jack, "They'll take me again. Lock me up. Or worse." "No," he said softly. "Not if we leave first." Jack knew the station's layout. He had fixed the air ducts, the lighting systems, even the door overrides. He reached into his jacket, pulled out a small, old-school access chip, and slid it into the chamber's hidden console near the floor. With a spark, the walls dimmed. The chamber door unlocked. The guard shouted and lunged forward, but Lyra raised her hand, not to kill, but to push them back. A soft wave of blue energy rolled off her skin. The guards flew backward, hitting the walls, groaning but alive. Jack stared. "You can control it?" Lyra looked at her hands. "I think with you near me I can." "Then let's go." They ran down the maintenance corridors, past flickering lights, past empty sleeping quarters and locked doors. Jack knew where they could hide. The unused storage bay where old tech was kept. It had no cameras, no scans. Forgotten by most. They slipped inside, breathing hard. Lyra leaned against the wall, her hand glowing slightly. "I've never used it like that," she whispered. "I didn't even know I could." Jack handed her water. "You're not a weapon. You're learning. That's what people do." She looked at him, eyes wide. "No one ever talked to me like this." Maybe it's time someone did? Meanwhile, council officers gathered in the command center. A tall, red-eyed alien leader watched the footage of Jack holding Lyra's hand. He turned to his assistant. "This changes everything. How is the human still alive?" The assistant asked. "They said she was cursed, that no species could touch her. But humans break the rules. Should we erase the footage?" "No. Archive it, quietly. But we must act fast. If Earth finds out she's safe with them, they'll want her. And if they get her?" The leader's eyes narrowed. "Then the galaxy may never control her again." Back in the storage bay, Jack and Lyra sat in silence. She stared at the stars through the small window. "Do you think Earth would accept me?" she asked. Jack nodded. "We've seen worse. And we've forgiven worse. I'm not sure I belong anywhere. You belong wherever you feel alive." She smiled faintly. Then she asked, "Why did you trust me?" Jack thought for a moment. "Because when I looked into your eyes, I didn't see death. I saw someone trying very hard not to be one. Tears filled her eyes again, but this time they were full of hope. Suddenly, the door panel blinked. A soft beep. Someone was trying to override the lock. Jack stood up fast. They found us. Lyra stepped beside him. Then let me protect you. No, Jack said. We protect each other. He reached for a nearby crate, pulled open the toppled tech. Human tech. Left behind from Earth's first missions to the station. Inside, a portable shield, emergency signal beacons, and an old Terran uniform with Earth's symbol still glowing faintly on the chest. Jack handed her the uniform. You want to live? He asked. She nodded. And let's remind them, we're not so easy to lock away anymore. Asterisk. The lock cracked. A soft hiss came from the storage bay door. Jack raised the old human shield device, fingers trembling. It wasn't made for long fights, but it might buy them a few seconds. Lyra stood behind him, now wearing the old Terran uniform. It fit loosely on her frame, the glowing earth patch resting just above her heart. For the first time, she didn't look like a prisoner. She looked like a survivor. The door opened, but it wasn't soldiers. It was an old man with one metal leg and deep scars across his face. He raised both hands. Easy, he said. I'm not here to drag anyone away. Jack lowered the shield. Slightly. Then why are you here? The man stepped in and sealed the door behind him. Name's Hal. Used to serve Earth's Black Ops before I retired into tech maintenance. Jack blinked. Maintenance? Hal grinned. That's what I tell people. Truth is, I monitor the Council's mistakes. His eyes landed on Lyra. And you, young lady, you're the biggest one they ever made. Lyra took a step back. Are you here to take me back? Hal shook his head. No, I'm here to tell you something that was buried. He pulled out a worn data drive and slid it into a console nearby. A hologram appeared, lab footage, dated decades ago. A younger Lyra stood inside a clean room, surrounded by alien scientists in white coats. One of them spoke. Test 41. Direct energy bonding with human DNA fragment. Result. Stable. Another said, the subject is no longer reacting lethally to human exposure. Begin emotional trials. Jack's jaw dropped. They were testing her with human DNA, Hal nodded. She wasn't cursed. She was made that way. Engineered. Some ancient alien project designed to test energy control through touch. Something about humans helped balance it, but the project was shut down. She was left behind. Lyra whispered. They abandoned me. They didn't just abandon you, Hal said softly. They erased you. The truth felt heavier than chains. Lyra sat down slowly. She had always believed she was born wrong, broken, dangerous. But now she realized she wasn't the monster. They were. Jack moved beside her. You were never death. They lied to you. But I hurt people, she said. Jack nodded. Because they forced you to. Locked you up. Treated you like a weapon. Lyra looked up, fire slowly rising in her eyes. Then I'm done hiding. Hal smiled. Good, because the Council just sent a signal to the Varnic Syndicate. Jack frowned. Who are they? People who believe anything dangerous should be controlled or destroyed. Far away, in deep space, a fleet of black ships turned. Toward the moon station. Inside the lead cruiser, a tall creature with dark blue skin tapped the screen. So she lives, and the humans made contact? Yes, Commander, the officer replied. And she didn't kill him. Unacceptable, the commander hissed. No weapon should be unpredictable. Orders? Take her. Kill the rest. The fleet jumped into warp. Back on the station. Hal handed Jack a small wristband. Signal beacon. If things go bad, press it. Earth's nearest patrol will respond. Jack slid it on. What will you do? I'll stall the Council. They don't want word getting out. They'll try to clean this up quietly. Lyra stood, her glow returning. Not this time. Jack looked at her. You okay? She nodded. No more running. That night, the news spread. A human had touched the death touched, and lived. The story broke out from hidden whispers into open messages across networks. Some called it a miracle, not others. A threat, but the truth couldn't. Be stopped now. Across colonies, humans began to speak up. If she's safe with us, maybe she was never the danger. She smiled in the video. Death doesn't smile. She's not a curse. She's scared. Then the station shook. The outer sensors picked up the arrival of unknown ships. Hal's voice came over the comm. They're here. Jack turned. To Lyra. Ready? She looked down at her hands, no longer afraid of them, and whispered, Let them come. Outside the chamber, alien boots hit the floor. Dark shapes moved through the halls, hunting. But this time, death didn't wait in a corner. She walked forward with a human beside her and fire in her heart. The floor VIBRATED sirens screamed across the station. From the observation deck, dark shapes could be seen in orbit Varnak Syndicate warships, their black holes like moving shadows, each covered in sharp metal spines. Death came with them. Not like Lyra's curse, but in the form of plasma cannons and boarding spikes. They didn't ask questions. They came to take Jack, and Lyra stood in a hallway lit only by red emergency lights. She no longer looked afraid. The old Terran uniform hung from her shoulders like a symbol not of her past, but of her choice. I feel strange, Lyra whispered. I don't want to run, but I've never fought before. You won't be alone, Jack said, tightening the straps on his shield gauntlet. And you don't have to hurt anyone. Just protect yourself. She looked at her hands again, glowing with soft energy. I think I can finally choose how this works. Footsteps echoed ahead. The first Varnak soldiers arrived, tall, armored. Creatures with glowing helmets and heavy weapons. One raised his rifle. Subject X-13. Surrender or be erased. Jack stepped in front of her. Not happening. The alien's helmet tilted. You're just a human. Lyra stepped beside him, her voice quiet but strong. And I'm not yours anymore. The Varnak opened fire, but before the shot could land, Lyra raised her palm. A soft blue wave pulsed, forward like a breath of wind, and the bolt of plasma slowed, bent in the air, and then shattered like glass. Jack's eyes widened. You can stop energy now? I didn't know I could, she said, surprised. It feels easy. The hallway lights sparked. The Varnak tried to fall back, but Lyra walked forward, calmly. Her energy reached out, wrapped around the rifles, and melted them into dust without touching anyone. I won't kill, she said, voice shaking. But I won't be caged again. Meanwhile, across the station, chaos broke out. Council soldiers clashed with the invading syndicate. Officers screamed orders. Security robots were torn apart in the crossfire. How, still in the control room, tapped into the comms. Jack, the station's falling. You have maybe 10 minutes before they breach your floor. Jack's voice came through. Then we hold for 10 minutes. I'm sending you a surprise. Don't waste it. Suddenly, a nearby door hissed open, and a supply drone rolled in, carrying 2 glowing crates. Jack opened the first one. His eyes lit up. Old Earth armor. Real stuff. Lyra blinked. Armor? Not for you, he said with a smile. You don't need it. He pulled on the sleek black plates. They adjusted around his body, humming with power. Then he tossed her something from the second crate, a smooth silver band. She caught it. What is this? It's a choice, Jack said. A limiter. You wear it. Your power stays inside. You don't. It flows free. Lyra looked at the band for a long time, and she dropped it. I've hidden long enough. Another wave of Syndicate soldiers arrived. Bigger, faster, more aggressive. This time, Lyra didn't wait. She moved like light itself, her energy pushing back gravity, bending metal, deflecting fire, but never killing. Jack covered her with plasma bursts and shield blocks. They fought as a team. Not perfect, not trained, but determined. The soldiers fell back again, this time with real fear. One shouted, "She's evolved." Another whispered, "She's not death-touched. She's something else now." From the top of the station, the Varnak commander watched the footage. "Impossible," he growled. She was a weapon. Predictable, contained. No longer. His assistant said, "The human changed her." The commander's face twisted. "And we kill them both." He pressed a command. A signal pulsed from the main ship, and a self-destruct countdown started deep inside the station. Hal's voice came through again. "Jack, they're going to blow the whole thing. You need to get to the launch bay now." Jack looked at Lyra. "We have to move." But Lyra didn't step away. She looked back at the Syndicate soldiers behind them, confused, defeated, but alive. "If we run, they'll still win." Jack took her hand. "Then what do you want to do?" She whispered, "Let me show them." Lyra raised both hands, glowing bright now, her hair lifting as if touched by wind. Her energy moved through the ship, not to destroy, but to rewrite. Doors unlocked. Weapons shut down. Engines stalled. Cameras flickered, then showed her image across every screen on the station. And she spoke. "I am not death. I am not your weapon. I am my own." The Varnak soldiers froze. Council officers looked on in silence. Across the galaxy, those tuned into the emergency broadcasts stared as the girl once called cursed now stood unbroken, bathed in light. Jack smiled beside her. "You've just told the whole galaxy." Lyra nodded, double quotes. "And now," she said, turning to him, "we go home." The station was silent. After all the sirens, gunfire, and shouts, now there was only quiet. Across the screens, the image of Lyra standing tall, glowing with energy and courage, played on loop. Her voice calm, but strong, still echoed in the yow. Ears of soldiers, commanders, and civilians alike. "I am not death. I am not your weapon. I am my own." The Varnak Syndicate ships hesitated. Their command channel buzzed with confusion. "She's not attacking us. She shut down our systems without damage." "Sir, the troops are refusing to re-engage, they say." "She spared them." The commander growled, his claws gripping the side of his chair. "Pull back," he finally ordered. "But the council, let the council face her," he spat. "We deal in fear, not symbols of hope." The fleet turned. The shadows in orbit faded. Back on the station, Lyra and Jack stood inside the main transit hall. Emergency lights were off now. Systems were stabilizing. And the council's elite guards were nowhere to be seen. Hal limped in from the side corridor, grinning. "You two made quite the speech." Lyra turned, tired but standing. "I didn't mean to. I just didn't want to run anymore." "You didn't run," Hal said, patting her shoulder. "You led." He tossed Jack a glowing access key. "Docking bay's clear. There's a shuttle fueled and ready." Jack caught it. "Where's it going?" "Earth. If you want it." Lyra glanced at Jack, then out the wide station window at the stars beyond. Her voice was quiet. "Will they accept me there?" Jack smiled. "You've already been accepted, the moment you chose mercy." The walk to the shuttle was slow, not because of pain, but because everyone they passed stopped and stared. Council. Medics, human techs, even Varnak prisoners escorted back to their cells. They didn't scream or run. They nodded. Some even smiled. A few whispered, "She's not death-touched anymore." And somewhere, a child's voice called from behind a door, "She's the Star Girl now." Inside the shuttle, Lyra sat by the window, staring out at the void. Jack joined her with 2 cups of warm earth tea. She took one, unsure what to say. After a while, she whispered, "You were the first person to hold my hand and live." "Why did?" "You trust me?" Jack leaned back. "Because." "You didn't ask me to." She blinked. "That doesn't make sense." "It does," he said. "You warned me. You wanted me to be safe. Real danger doesn't warn you. You were scared of hurting others, even when you had no one." She looked down at her palms. "And now?" Jack smiled. "Now, you're someone the galaxy needs to see. Again and again." Weeks. Past. The shuttle reached Earth. Lyra stepped onto real soil for the first time. Felt wind on her face. Sunlight, not artificial lights, on her skin. News crews didn't rush her. They watched respectfully. She didn't give speeches. She walked through a small town in silence, holding Jack's hand. Children approached her. One handed her a flower. Another drew a star and gave it to her with a smile. And in the crowd, an older woman wiped a tear from her eye. "She's not cursed," the woman whispered. "She's beautiful." A monument was built later, not of war or fear, but of peace. A tall statue of a girl with open hands, eyes calm, light around her shoulders. Beside her, a simple human man holding her hand. The plaque read, "They called." Her death, but she gave the galaxy hope. One night, far from cameras, Jack and Lyra sat on a hill. The stars twinkled above. He glanced at her. "You know, you're not death-touched anymore." She looked at him, smiling softly. "Then what am I?" Jack leaned closer. "You're the one who made the galaxy believe again." She didn't speak after that. She just held his hand. Gently. And the stars above seemed just a little brighter.